Nathan Cole stepped into his mansion earlier than usual that day. As a respected businessman known for routine and structure, every corner of his home was carefully arranged. But today, something was off. A sweet, earthy scent lingered in the air, something unfamiliar. He wrinkled his nose. Please like and subscribe to my channel for more contents like this. The place was always spotless, every scent tightly controlled. Curious, Nathan followed the aroma through the hallway and into the garden. What he saw made him freeze. His daughter, Eliza, pale, fragile, and silent for months, was sitting on the grass smiling. A boy he had never seen before, barefoot and dressed in ragged clothes, sat beside her, feeding her something from a steaming bowl. Nathan's voice rose sharply. "Who are you, and what are you doing with my daughter?" The boy's hand trembled as he dropped the spoon. He stood quickly, nervous and frightened. "I didn't mean any harm, sir," he said quietly. "My name is Micah. I just wanted to help." His voice shook, but his eyes held a quiet honesty. Nathan stepped protectively in front of Eliza. "Help? With what?" Micah swallowed hard. "The food. It's from my grandmother, Mama Audie. She's a herbalist. People in our village say her meals help heal the sick." Nathan narrowed his eyes. "And you thought bringing strange food to my daughter without permission was a good idea?" Micah looked down at his dusty feet. "I saw her in the garden last week. She looked so sad. I didn't think anyone would care if I brought something small. I swear, sir, I just wanted her to feel better." Nathan looked at Eliza, who was still smiling, her eyes brighter than he'd seen in weeks. That expression caught him off guard. It wasn't forced or pained, it was real. For the first time in a long time, his daughter looked alive. Conflicted and wary, Nathan didn't know whether to call security or simply sit down beside her. After a long pause, Nathan said stiffly, "You may stay, but from now on, everything you give her I test first." "Understood." Micah nodded quickly, relieved. "Yes, sir. I understand." Nathan turned to Eliza. "Is this what you want?" Eliza nodded faintly, her voice barely a whisper. "It helps, Papa." The words were soft, but they struck something deep inside him. He didn't trust the boy. He didn't trust this food. But he couldn't ignore Eliza's glow. That glow had been missing for too long. The following morning, Nathan set strict ground rules. Every herb, every ingredient would be documented. He insisted on overseeing the preparation of every meal. Nothing would touch Eliza's lips without his approval. He made space in the garden for Micah and even invited Mama Audie to supervise the meals. The woman arrived quietly, carrying a woven basket full of herbs. Her eyes were calm but knowing. "We don't fight science," she said gently. "We feed the soul where medicine can't always reach." Nathan didn't respond, but he stayed to watch. That night, Eliza ate again, without crying, without pain. As the days passed, Nathan kept close watch over every interaction. He followed Micah to the kitchen, jotting down each ingredient and grilling Mama Audie about its purpose. She never argued. She simply answered, her voice steady and calm. "This one eases the lungs," she'd say. "This one helps the body remember how to rest." Nathan didn't believe in magic. He believed in lab results, charts, and proven studies. Yet each time Eliza finished a bowl of the strange soup, her color looked better. He hated the unease inside him, the feeling that something he couldn't explain was actually working. Eliza, once too weak to lift her head, began sitting up for minutes at a time. Her laughter returned, soft at first, like a breeze, but real. Micah became a quiet part of the household. He didn't speak unless spoken to, always respectful, always gentle. Even the house staff, who once gave him strange looks, now greeted him with quiet nods. Mama Audie didn't demand space or praise. She came, she cooked, she left with grace. But in her wake, something changed. The sterile mansion that once echoed with silence now hummed with cautious hope. One afternoon, Nathan sat by the window with a notebook, pretending to read. In truth, he was watching Eliza and Micah through the glass. She giggled as Micah tried to teach her a hand-clapping game from his village. Her cheeks were flushed. Her hands, though still thin, moved with growing strength. Nathan rubbed his eyes. He couldn't ignore the progress any longer. Still, doubt lingered. What if this was just temporary? What if it all collapsed like sand? She's getting better, he whispered to himself. But at what cost? And then the peace broke. One evening, as the sun dipped low, the doorbell rang. Nathan opened it to find his ex-wife, Vivian Cole, standing tall in a tailored black suit, her eyes sharp and accusing. "You're letting strangers feed our daughter's strange plants?" she barked. "Are you insane?" Before Nathan could answer, Eliza's voice rang out from the hallway. "Mama, I'm better. Please don't fight." Vivian's expression flickered. Her daughter had spoken with energy. That hadn't happened in months. But rage returned quickly. "This is irresponsible, Nathan. I'm filing for full custody." The fight exploded in the living room. Vivian paced like a storm, her voice cold. "Doctors have said again and again, there's no proven cure. This nonsense is reckless." Nathan tried to stay calm. "I understand your fear, but you saw her. She's healing. Isn't that worth something?" Vivian's glare hardened. "At what risk?" Mama Audie stepped forward gently. "We do not replace medicine. We walk beside it." Vivian turned sharply. "I don't care for poetry, madam. This is my child." Eliza's small voice broke the tension. "Mama, I want to keep the garden food." Vivian looked stunned. Nathan stood his ground. The war had begun. Vivian didn't leave that night. Instead, she stayed in the guest suite, making calls to lawyers and specialists. The mansion, once filled with cautious peace, now felt tense. Nathan paced endlessly, struggling to hold the calm. Eliza, though aware of the tension, continued her herbal meals, her strength returning little by little. Mama Audie remained composed, refusing to engage in any quarrels. "Time will reveal truth," she told Nathan softly as they watched Eliza rest. Nathan nodded, but fear gripped his chest. He knew Vivian wasn't bluffing. A custody war was coming, and soon. News of the fight leaked to the outside world. A market girl named Zuri, who admired Eliza and often delivered baskets for Mama Audie, had recorded a short video. In it, Eliza walked slowly through the garden, holding on to Micah's hand. Her smile was bright, her steps shaky but determined. Zuri posted it online with a simple caption, "Hope is walking again." The video spread like wildfire. People shared it, cried over it, debated it. Some called it a miracle. Others called it foolishness. But no one could ignore the girl in the video, the one who was once fading and now alive again. The video reached newspapers, TV screens, and hospital boards. Reporters camped outside the mansion. Some praised Nathan's courage. Others accused him of endangering his daughter. "Folk medicine isn't medicine," one headline screamed. Nathan blocked out the noise and focused on Eliza, but he could feel the walls closing in. Vivian's lawyers filed an emergency motion for custody, citing reckless parenting. The court date was set for the following week. Nathan stayed up late every night, researching, reading, preparing his heart for a battle he didn't want, but had no choice but to fight. Then disaster struck. Eliza woke in the middle of the night, feverish and shaking. Her body convulsed, and Nathan's world collapsed. He rushed her to the hospital, shouting for help. Machines beeped. Nurses moved fast. Doctors filled the room. Nathan stood helpless in the corner, clutching her hand. Vivian arrived shortly after, her face pale and hard. "This is exactly what I feared," she whispered. "You've gambled with her life." Nathan couldn't respond. His eyes never left Eliza's motionless body. The bright little light that had returned to her eyes seemed to flicker now, fading. The hospital became a prison of waiting. Hours turned to days. Eliza's condition remained critical. Vivian took over, ordering tests, consulting specialists, whispering to lawyers in the hallway. Nathan stayed at Eliza's side, barely eating, barely sleeping. He replayed every decision in his mind. Had he been wrong? Had his desperation blinded him? He felt broken, useless. That's when Mama Audie and Micah arrived with a wooden box wrapped in cloth. Inside was a miniature garden, herbs carefully arranged around a single blooming flower. She needs this, Micah said gently. Not just the leaves, the memory of joy. The hospital staff was hesitant, but Nathan insisted. It's just a box, he said. Let it stay. They placed it on the table near Eliza's bed. The room filled with a familiar scent, sweet, earthy calm. Micah held Eliza's hand and whispered stories from the garden. Mama Audie sat silently, eyes closed, lips moving in quiet prayer. Nathan didn't believe in spells, but he believed in Eliza, and for the first time in days, he let himself hope again. Eliza stirred, her lips parted, and she whispered, "Papa Garden." That single word cracked Nathan's chest wide open. "Yes, my love," he whispered, choking back tears. "The garden is here." Nurses noted a change, slight but real. Her pulse stabilized, her breathing calmed. The doctors were cautious, but something had shifted. Micah stayed through the night. Mama Audie whispered blessings as she placed tiny leaves near Eliza's wrist. "The body needs rest," she murmured, "but the soul needs a reason to stay." Nathan sat with them, holding his daughter's hand, choosing faith over fear. Days passed. Slowly, Eliza opened her eyes fully. She blinked at the ceiling, then turned to Nathan. "Did I make it?" she asked. Nathan smiled for the first time in what felt like years. "You're right here." Vivian was silent when she entered the room and saw her daughter awake. Her eyes filled with tears, but her pride kept her distant. Still, she watched. She listened. She couldn't deny the change. Eliza's voice was steady. Her cheeks had color. Her body, though frail, no longer trembled like paper. Vivian sat by her side quietly. For the first time, she didn't argue. Eliza's healing continued. With physiotherapist Dr. Imani's help and herbal support from Mama Audie, she began walking again. Micah held her hand every step. Vivian, though still skeptical, observed with guarded respect. One afternoon, she pulled Nathan aside. "I won't pretend I understand this," she said, "but I see what's happening. Eliza's recovering, and I don't want to fight anymore." Her voice cracked. "Let's keep her safe. Together." Nathan exhaled deeply, like he'd been holding his breath for years. "That's all I've wanted," he said. And for the first time, they stood on the same side. Lawyers rewrote the custody terms. Medical supervision was enforced, but herbal treatment was allowed under guidelines. The courts accepted the compromise. The battle ended not with a victory speech, but with a quiet agreement. Eliza's health came first. Vivian stayed in town longer than expected, eventually joining Eliza and Micah in the garden on warm afternoons. She asked questions. She even helped pick leaves one morning. Mama Audie never gloated. She simply smiled. "Every healing begins with belief," she said, "even if it starts as doubt." Inspired by his daughter's healing and the journey they had all walked, Nathan launched a new initiative, the Green Path Project. It aimed to bridge traditional remedies and modern science, providing healing foods to those who had lost hope. He invested his resources into research and partnerships, ensuring the herbs Mama Audie used were studied, validated, and made accessible. Micah and Mama Audie became the heart of the project. Eliza helped too, greeting families, sharing her story, and painting colorful signs for the garden. The mansion became a place of learning, healing, and unexpected joy. Word spread again, this time without controversy. Families visited from far and wide, hoping to learn, hoping to heal. The once cold mansion buzzed with laughter, footsteps, and fresh cooking smells. Children played by the fountain. Elders traded stories with Mama Audie under the shade trees. Micah taught visiting kids how to identify herbs. Eliza beamed, her voice bright and confident. Vivian helped organize visitor days. Nathan watched it all, often from the porch, heartful. The home that once echoed with silence now overflowed with life. One golden evening, the family gathered near a patch of soft soil in the garden. Eliza carried a small seedling, its petals glowing faintly pink. She bent and placed it gently into the dirt. "This one," she said, "is for Joy." Micah made a small wooden sign, "Ear Joy." They placed it beside the flower. Mama Audie watered it quietly, and Vivian placed a smooth stone near its base. Nathan knelt and pressed his palm to the earth. He didn't speak, but his eyes shimmered. A deep peace settled over them. As the sun dipped low, casting gold across the blossoms, Nathan stood with his family, no longer fractured, no longer doubting. "You did it," he whispered to Eliza. She smiled and whispered back, "We all did." Around them, the garden rustled with life, laughter, and the gentle breath of healing. It was more than a home. It was a promise, planted, watered, and finally blooming. Like and subscribe to my channel for more contents like this, and let us know where you are watching from under the comment section.